Alright, here we go with Trends on Thursdays just for you. And we are already in the middle of December, so I'll have to do a 2019's trends as well. So look for that in the next couple of weeks. First up, MasterCard and Microsoft are teaming up to create a universal ID. According to a MasterCard tweet, proving your identity is necessary to vote, drive, apply for a job, rent a home, get married, and board a plane. So far, so good. But, and this is a big but, it requires a government-issued ID. And quite frankly, as much as I am pro-business, I am just not sure I'm ready for an ID issued by Microsoft and MasterCard, neither of which has a stellar track record of wanting to take care of me. They, however, have a decent track record of selling info about me whenever possible. I've had plenty of discussions about whether government should be run as a business or as a service, and arguments can be made for both. But turning government over to a business goes a little far even for me. This will be something to watch closely with an eye on our privacy, since it could mean universal tracking of every user, driver, buyer, and traveler. Hashtag scary. Next up, Harvard just found the secret to a fulfilling life using a study that tracked people over a period of 75 years. This is kind of impressive in itself, seeing most of us can't keep track of people we went to high school with. The answer to a happy, fulfilling life are meaningful relationships and, in short, love. Now, you may say that that's a bunch of new age BS, but as business people, we often find ourselves torn between family and working late, friends and meetings, or between going out and going in Sunday morning to finish the week's work. Happiness can't be bought, it seems, and even though it's much more fun to be sad while sitting in a Mercedes, we all need to make sure we find a healthy balance of working and life itself. I happen to love what I do along with the people in my life, so I think that's what we should all thrive for. Work hard and play hard is a lot more important than most people realize, and I think we should embrace the concept a whole lot more. Next up, in the consulting world, we talk a lot about increasing market share and building capacity, and a lot of times the problem is the capacity the market will bear. In other words, if I sell widgets that attach to a BMW, the market is limited to the number of BMWs on the road. So then my choices are either making another product for other cars or helping BMW sell more cars. With me so far? Well, Airbnb has announced that they will go into the business of designing homes in 2019. If you think about it, it makes perfect sense. Airbnb is relying on people having extra space, and the easiest way to make that happen is to help people build extra space. Some of that might be with extra spaces in backyards and above garages, but it sounds like there will be at least a component of building perfect little Airbnb rental units wherever possible. Very interesting way of solving a problem, and worth thinking about for any business that runs into capacity problems. Speaking of innovation, if someone could come up with a way to stop recorded phone calls or robocalls, I think they could make a good bit of money. The problem is, of course, that the marketers can pretend to be someone else and no longer call from a recognizable number, which in turn means we all get phone calls about expired car warranties that can pay off your student loans while giving us health insurance. And if you're thinking it's been getting worse, it has. According to First Orion, who has some technology that blocks scam calls, the number of scam calls has gone from 3.7% of total call volume in 2017 to almost 30% in 2018, and the number is expected to rise to almost 50% next year. To be honest, I always wonder who even talks to these people, but clearly someone does, or they would have given up by now. The question really is, if numbers that are unfamiliar go less and less answered, what does it mean for the way we communicate? Or are we just all going to Skype calls and FaceTime? How do you deal with recorded calls? Do you send every number you don't recognize to voicemail? Anyways, that's Trends on Thursdays. Please share this with a friend or colleague if you found it useful. Until next week, I'm Tobias Wilhelm.